I can't believe we weren't recording all of that gold. The gold that we were recording, it's on the tapes. The magic on those tapes. The tapes belong to you, but the magic that's on those tapes, that magic belongs to us.
That's us. That's a dual magic.
Yeah. I'd like to point out that is a Boogie Nights reference. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but I've been going through some old films of late, and
really,
that movie is fucking great and fucking depressing. Woo.
Yeah, I have not seen that in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm deciding whether I want to go forward.
Something.
Oh, I did. What did I remind you of?
No, that did. I think I shared this last week. I had to do some clearance research, and the literal title, the actual legal title of Rocket Man from Elton John, is Rocket Man (parentheses). I think it's going to be a long time.
Wow.
Parentheses.
Punctuation and all. And not gonna, not Gonna.
Going to be.
Unlike
Capital
Gloria
T-O.
Estefan, rhythm is gonna get you.
Yes. So this is the same thing as like the Lionel Richie.
All night long, yeah.
All night.
Yeah.
All night long. All night in parentheses.
It's the classic. Hey, the backing vocal is so iconic. We're gonna give it top billing. Yeah,
I think that's hilarious though. Like how that decision was made. Like I mean, when they're writing it in the '70s or whatever, Rocket Man. Yeah, that's a cool song. But then he was like, I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Is like the actual hook.
Yeah.
Right. Like so, we're gonna put that there. Bernie probably put that in there in the titling.
Yeah. Bernard. That's such a British name. Bernard.
Bernie Taupin. Bernard Taupin.
I mean, I also want to know, okay, Elton John's real name is not Elton, is it?
No, Reginald, I believe.
Reginald, yeah. So where the
damn, my brain is working today.
You are on fire today. I'm really glad you took your mushroom supplement to keep those those neurons in tip-top shape.
Welcome to 2 Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it. That mushroom tastes a lot like weed, man.
I wonder where the fuck did Elton come from? Where did he find that? Like this, what my stage name's going to be? Elton. I haven't seen the movie Rocket Man, so I don't know if there's any answer to that question in that movie.
But talk about mushrooms. That's a trippy movie. That's a trippy movie. Taron Egerton.
Yes, Taron Egerton.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's I think it's like in the style of, there's like a lot of films and TV shows. Minx is this too, the thing that I'm watching recently on Starz.
Yeah.
Where the style of it is shot as if the people are as drugged out as the people they're showing. Like the editing, the coloration, like all of it is very much stylized, and that was Rocket Man. It was very much stylized. Yeah. Of like, this is all a swirl to him. Like I'm sure, like I imagine this was the same case with Queen and all of the like early biopics. Like it's the reason why they haven't been able to make a good David Bowie one. Yeah. Is that I think that in most of those cases, you get that guy sitting down in front of you. You're like, okay, Elton, what happened in 1974 when you were doing this, and you and Bernie, like they know the story, right? Yeah. They know the story from all of the people telling the story. But Elton's probably like, I have no fucking idea, man. I was loaded. I was young. I was high. Yeah. So who knows what the actual story is? It all becomes legend.
Yeah. I think that's part of the joy of this career choice, though, is like there are so many things that we've even you and I have done. Like so many things have been, I mean,
legendized.
I've forgotten how things, like somebody said to me that day, oh yeah, you were in that band that was in the tour bus crash, and I was like, holy fuck, I was in a tour bus accident crash.
That's right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's just not something you think about.
I don't think, it's like, and then it's like, how, and then you go, of course your brain goes, can I recreate that entire story? Well, no, I was in a tour bus crash. I don't know if I remember what the fuck happened, but we've forgotten so many things with his career. I mean, like, I can kind of remember my first couple of shows.
Yeah.
Kinda. But, like, after that, it's like, once you're off to the races, it's like asking, hey, Bob, in accounting, you remember the third day of September in 2011?
Do you remember?
No, he forgot the entire thing.
The third day of September.
Yeah. So, like, do you remember? Like, it's like, because it's, even though it's exciting and it's different, you know, every time you go do a show, the same principles apply every time you walk in the door. We get off the bus, we load into the venue, we set up our equipment, we wait for the sound guy to get off his smoke break. He's really angry.
Take the shot.
The bar's not open yet. The floor is still sticky from the night before. Don't worry, Gerald will be in later to clean that off the stage, but just set up as best you can around it. And then, you know, like, it goes like that. And then you can go back to the hotel, clean up for an hour. Then you come back to the venue and, you know, craft services and whatever. Craft services? What the hell kind of venue is this?
You mean nachos?
You mean nachos from the... I meant the cinnamon twists you used to get for dessert at Taco Bell that cost 79 cents.
That's right. Well, wings... I don't know. I always think that, like, bands always get fed like comedians do.
Cocaine and champagne.
You always get, like, you can get whatever you want off the first page.
Yeah,
it's a whole lot of appetizers.
We got our band menu.
Yeah, whole lot of appetizers.
I just did a show.
But it's not like you're going to order lasagna or something before a show.
Dude, but here's the thing is, like, you know, I might, if I'm on tour and I haven't eaten well for a couple days, I mean, like, yeah, can I have that avocado garden salad and a side of roasted chicken? You know?
Yeah.
That might be what my body wants in that moment. You do your best to eat good on the road. It's fucking hard, especially in certain parts of Texas and the Midwest. It's what I'm saying is, like, it's the same thing, like,
and
every single day.
2 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
Like, that salad is no good at 2 a.m.
There's no salad. Please make sure the fridge on the bus works and that you've got your leftover garlic knots in there so you can have a little carb up after the show.
Before the post-show drinking.
Yeah. Go ahead and sop up all the Jägermeister.
There's that avocado salad is not taking out the Jaeger that you just put your body through. No, sir.
No, sir.
Not well, at least.
But the point is like,
you'll see it again.
The number of times, like, people go, oh, you've seen the world, you traveled the world. It's like, no, I saw the hotel and the green room. And maybe I saw the back of the bus driver's head on the way into the city. Right. You know, one of the nice things about doing the fly dates with Fred Jones was that we had a day we could kind of, you know, get the lay of the land and have a day to go. You know, when we would go to Chicago, where the band was from, when I would go out there, I could go to Chicago Music Exchange and I could go to, you know, all the blues clubs. I could go have a fucking day of it and enjoy myself. But that's not typically what that gig is. And so asking a legend musician to go, hey, remember this show? Nope.
I know. 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, 40, 50 years ago.
Or like how you wrote a song.
Yeah.
You know, like that's, you see that in music journalism all the time.
Yeah.
How did that song come together? Like, okay, like Shifty, Chris Shiflett is doing this great show called Shredding with Shifty. I think it's on Premier Guitar, their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think it was on... he had one called Walking the Floor. I don't know if he still has it. That was really cool, where he'd interview a bunch of guitarists. A bunch of dudes I would never think of interviewing. He's such a fucking cool dude. Anyway,
he's doing this great thing where it's like... The premise of it is, as guitarists, we try to learn, you know, these solos or... you know, these classic songs. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, nowadays, we go to YouTube. Mm-hmm. And you go to YouTube, and there's tons of people doing covers of them and, like, you know, trying to teach you how to do it or whatever. And he, you know, he's a fantastic, incredible guitarist, and he does the same thing. He'll go and he'll try to catch a little tip here, like, how did he do that bend? Is it finger picking? Is it, you know, picking, flat picking? You know, he's trying to get, like, a little bit of the insight on how that solo went. And he'll go and look at the YouTube videos, look at their live videos, try to figure out how they're doing it. Yeah. And he's like, and I realized, like, just like you guys, I don't fucking know. And, like, I'm learning from some guy who thinks he knows, but often they figured out how to do it for their cover band or for whatever.
Yeah,
and it's close, but it may not be exactly how it was recorded. So the premise was, I'm going to call these guitarists because he's at a position now where he can.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I'm going to interview them and go, hey, you tell us how to fucking play this. And so it's like Alex Lifeson, like the whole thing from Rush on how to play, I think it was YYZ or maybe it was Limelight, but like how to play the solo on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and different guitarists he'll pull in and he'll talk to them. He did a great one with Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Excellent.
And like pulled up like all of his metal stuff and like playing on SGs and it becomes like sort of guitar porn talk at some point. And what's hilarious is how often it turns into them going, I don't really know either, man. Like I know that it's around here and this is kind of how I play it live now, but like how I recorded it, and especially back then, you're probably doing, 12 passes on it, and then you've got doubles, and so the engineer may make a little magic with that one G note, and so what you hear on the solo is a little bit different than what they play live, like all alone, and what they play live now, you know, or what they've played live in their last tour. Yeah. And actually, I was just watching one today, and by the time this comes out, everybody will see it. But it's Richie Sambora, and it's to learn Wanted Dead or Alive, and it's to learn the solo on it.
Nice.
This apparently is the first podcast Richie Sambora has been on.
Oh, wow.
Like, at all.
Wow.
And he's been mentioning recently in interviews that he and Bon Jovi are in talks, big, huge air quotes, about him getting back on the tour.
Okay.
And which would be a big deal. And he's like, especially for overseas, because, we were much bigger overseas than we were in America. And, they kind of want that. And I'm like, whatever. But so as he's going through it, it's poor Shifty, because it is a train wreck. He is not sober.
Oh,
and
man.
he is that guy that, and I don't give a fuck. Go ahead and sue me, Richie, if you are, or whatever. I don't care. But like, I know you. I know that guy. I know that guy at 1 o'clock in the morning who wants to convince you he's sober and has a guitar in his hand and just keeps playing shit and like will not stay on topic. He's not very clear-headed. His mouth is just going all over the place. And it's like, and now he's like spouting off this. This is the whole reason why I got kicked out of Bon Jovi. DUIs and drinking and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but I got to say, Chris does an amazing job of keeping it together and like, hey, man, how about this part? Hey, is this picking? And like, he's like, hey, and what about this? And just trying to go with him where he's going. It's a great podcast. If you're a guitarist, go check it out. Shredding with Shifty. We'll link it in this, but because there's one coming up that I'm dying to see, which is Brian Setzer.
Ooh,
because I would love to learn half of the way he plays, half of the stuff he plays.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's got some magic.
Yeah, he really does. He's and
he's a real one.
Yeah, exactly. He's a real one. It's the
there's no tricks there.
Yeah, it's all it's like a reverb tank, maybe a trem, and him.
Yeah, and some 1952 perfect issued guitar.
Yeah,
Gretsch?
His Gretsch
You play Gretsch a lot?
Yeah, but like, I mean, have you ever seen him play live?
Oh yeah, we used to see him every single Christmas until he got the tinnitus problem. Thought he was going to come back this year. We still haven't heard. He just released an album. Yeah, and he would bring out Stray Cats. Yeah, they would be on the tour with him, but like he had a full Christmas orchestra. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to see Brian Setzer live, absolutely do it. It like the best shows I've ever seen. Like just musically, like sound wise, mix wise. Yeah,
well, you have to have the best mixing engineer for that size of show, that size of production.
Yeah, and he was playing it. He would do it here at the Paramount.
Gotcha. I wanted to. There was a you brought up Alex Lifeson a minute ago, and there was this. I don't know if this story's true, but there was a legend about the Limelight story, and I don't know if it's addressed in this thing, but was that he did. Speaking of studio magic, he did like 5 or 6 passes or maybe 12 passes of that solo, and had and basically did like 12 separate tracks, and just they would kind of flip between each one to see which ones they like, and he would pick the pieces he liked. They'd cut it together on a tape, and then he would go home and learn that and record that the next day. Now, I don't know if that is true. That sounds like a hell of a fucking crazy way to compose a solo. But what that did for me as a creator, just that little piece of like, oh, he did this, whether it's true or not, just that legend piece of, composition and creation, whether the artist can remember it or not, serves as an inspirational piece as well. So it's not just about the music. The story is really, 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 really important to inspiring other artists. Because for me, it's like, okay, now as a guy with a digital, a DAW that fucking runs infinite tracks if I wanted to, I can go in and I can go, okay, I'm going to go ahead and record 7 or 8 different solos, and I'm going to pick the pieces I like the most, knit it together, and then learn to play that.
Yeah, yeah. And not much different than tape cutting, just a lot easier.
Yeah.
Than razor blading tape or whatever back in the day.
Yeah, I just remember the difference in my fingertips.
We just had a lot more razor blades. For a lot more things. Why? By the way, it is that episode of Shredding with Shifty with Lifeson is Limelight.
Yeah,
it's the story about the legendary Limelight solo. So
that's such an amazing solo, and one of those solos that I've played it live. I've been in a couple bands that have covered Limelight, and it is such a fun fucking song to play. But that solo is really hard to play, not just because of what he's playing, but because the timing on it is so fucking strange. And you cover a lot of ground, right? Like it's way up the neck, way down the neck, quickly. Yeah. Right? Like it doesn't make sense where it's like a scale from 3 to 5 to 7 to 12, it's like 3 to 12, in the fret zone where like I do remember that part of it where it's like you have to do some jumps to get to different parts. Yeah. And he was a guest soloist on a Porcupine Tree song many, many years ago. It was on the album Fear of a Blank Planet. I believe the song's called Anesthetize. And the second the solo starts, you go, that's fucking Alex Lifeson.
Yeah.
You can spot it like that because it's got that fluidity and that jumping around, and it's not completely in time. He's fucking with meter, and it's just, he's what a fucking brilliant guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you get a chance, check out that podcast. It is it's very cool. And check it out on YouTube because it's fun to see Chris Shiflett kind of go through it and Shiflett, he's got like a lot of good heat going. He's got his own record coming out. I think it's Jump Into the Sea or something like that.
Something like
that's
that.
happening like right now, but and like it's just great that he
Lost
is able
at Sea.
to hang with some of these amazing guitarists now.
Yeah,
because he is in his own right, but he just, he's never been that kind of guy.
Yeah. He also has his fan club is called Shifty's Tackle Shop. So, his album's coming out October 20th. It's called Lost at Sea.
Lost at Sea. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
So,
thank you for cleaning that up.
Pretty exciting stuff. That's very exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting.
So it looks like he still does do the Walking the Floor podcast. Well, I don't know. The last link is a guy named John Jeffers from Whiskey Myers. Not John Jeffers. I know. Not our John Jeffers, who's one of the finest musicians I've ever met in my entire life.
He is. He's a brilliant man.
Yeah, brilliant man. I mean...
And also a very good vegetarian.
Very well. What's funny is when we were touring together, he was the world's worst vegetarian. There was nary a vegetable in sight, but there was no meat. There was nary a vegetable.
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
I see. Yes. Okay. Well, it's the spirit of it. Then
it's the spirit of it. It's the spirit of all those animals he saved by not eating them.
Well, and I always loved that about him because he would have like the conversation with me about like why and and I know a lot of vegetarians and vegans and. I'm always interested in like what their origin story is. Like my buddy Kyle, we used to eat meat together. Like I know that sounds weird, but like there's this classic hamburger stand here called Griff's.
Oh yeah.
That had and it was like an old school hamburger place. And we used to go to Griff's And there was one time we went to Griff's, and he got it was like the worst burger I ever had, and it was the last piece of meat he ever ate.
Oh no!
And
I
the girl
get
he
that.
was dating was a vegetarian and a longtime friend of mine. And she's like Lisa Simpson. She's been a vegetarian since she was like 12. Yeah. Like she went to a farm or whatever and was like, well, fuck this. And like from that moment on, she's never looked back.
Fair.
Like she's been a vegetarian ever since. I mean, I think I knew her when she was 17 and she was a vegetarian. And she told me that she became a vegetarian when she was a kid. And of course her parents were like, you don't know what you're talking about. Because it's like in the 80s, and
Yeah.
she was like, no,
Yeah.
I do know what I'm talking about, and I don't believe that meat is
Eat your
is right
steak.
for people. Yeah.
And enjoy your Parliament lights.
Yeah.
While at the table. Enjoy your
Let them
aspartame.
have their tartar sauce.
I mean, I've got some friends that like. I know a friend of mine. When she became pregnant with her eldest kid, who is now I think she's almost like probably late 30s, but she the kid is so. My friend is, but she like. They weren't vegetarian until she became pregnant, and then she started cooking dinner for her and her husband one night. And the smell of meat made her so nauseous, they just stopped eating it, and they just raised the kids that way too. So they've got 4 kids after that. At the end of it, and they're all vegetarian. And they're just like, and they've all tried meat, and they're just like, yeah, don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like, we were raised in the meat potatoes family,
Yeah.
and the experience of somebody who never had any, and never just wasn't raised that way, just enjoyed vegetarian meals their entire life. They tried a piece of meat and they were like, no, fuck that, that's awful. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
well, and I think part of it is like a lot of my family, my elders were in the Depression, and so like my grandparents and my aunts and stuff like that. And not well to do at all. My parents weren't well to do, and I think that sort of informed the sort of like there was no talk about what do you mean vegetarian? Like you need to have something to eat.
Yeah,
like,
meat is where the
you don't
protein is.
understand.
That's
We
how
were
you
chewing
become
on
strong.
shoes in 1930. Like
I was sucking all
we
the
were
juice out of my
catching fish in
leathers.
Sloan's Lake, and
Oh no.
that's true.
Oh,
actually,
no.
my grandpa fished in Sloan's Lake during the Depression. That's where a lot of people they got their meals from. Yeah, crazy.
Well, people are resourceful when they when you hit that.
Well, my
when you hit that-
grandparents with victory gardens and
Oh yeah.
and I've fucked around with vegetarianism a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I love vegetables. I'm
Yeah.
By the way, for everyone that doesn't know this, my kryptonite is spinach. It's the only thing I'm allergic to. Other than I was deathly allergic to bees until like 6 years ago, and then I got stung, and apparently I didn't die and go into anaphylactic
Did it cure you
shock,
of it?
so
And
that
now
was
you have the
nice.
powers of the bee. I just
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So it's that, and like they think penicillin, but that was from like when I had my appendectomy, like a long time ago.
Oh my
but I
gosh.
can take amoxicillin, so probably not. But so for realsies, it's spinach. And again, my vegetarian friend that I was telling you about before, the Lisa Simpson one, right?
Yeah.
She got a pizza at Herman's at one of my shows.
Okay.
And and I would always get vegetarian pizza with them. So it's like, green peppers and onions instead of mushroom, or instead of like, pepperoni and sausage. And I love that shit. Love it.
Yeah.
She got spinach on it, and I thought it was like pesto.
Oh dear.
So I get off stage, I grab a piece of pizza, and before I made it to the green room downstairs, I was having trouble breathing and throwing up, and I looked like my face went like 3 times as big.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
No,
I
that
was like
sounds
still
bad.
allergic, apparently.
Well, that's still there. That's interesting.
I can have kale. I can have kale. I can have chard, Swiss chard.
Swiss chard. I remember being with a guy I used to play music with. We were doing a private event at a ranch, and they brought a kale salad. And this was the first time this person had kale. This is probably about 12 years ago, right?
That's when it was invented. Mm-hmm.
And that's when kale was invented. It used to just garnish the salad bar at Pizza Hut.
We never had it before.
But
everybody's like, "Oh, you can eat that? Okay,
you can eat that. Okay, fine." And I watched this person put it's covered in dressing. You cover it in stuff to make it slide down easier. Actually, I don't mind kale. I like the bitter greenies, the cruciferous vegetables, as my nutritionist friend says.
Oh, very nice.
And I watched this man put the kale in his mouth, chew it up, walk over the trash can, and like a toddler, spit it out, and then scrape his tongue with his fingers. And I just couldn't stop laughing. So, but kale doesn't bother me. But I'm a little, I'm sad to know that you can't. Your Popeye forearms are actually from exercise and not from
I know.
Some spinach.
It's so weird. And as a
face.
kid, it's like one of those things like when you're a kid growing up and you're like, eat your vegetables. And like, no, I don't like them. And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm actually allergic to spinach. But I mean, I love broccoli. I eat broccoli like almost every night. I like asparagus. I mean, let's not just list all the vegetables, but
do you want to, like we did the drummers a couple weeks ago?
I know. I got a bunch of shit for that. Would you guys just have Google open, just reading off drummers? I'm like, for half of them, yeah.
No, I didn't have Google open at all. I just was like excited to talk about drummers because I love drums.
And I was like, I know we're going to forget some, but I want to get in the many that we can, as many as we can. Yeah. All right, so let's do it. Brussels sprouts, love those.
Although, how do you like your Brussels sprouts cooked? Because when I grew up, my mother would boil the Brussels sprouts and just deliver them directly to my father, who would then spend the evening shitting his pants, And it wasn't until I got married the second time to my second ex-wife. She used to
drink.
She one time said, "Why don't you bake those? We put them in the oven, cover them in spices, and bake them and crisp them up." And I was like, she cooked it like that. I was like, you're a fucking genius. How come I haven't been doing this?
Yes, absolutely.
And I've
always thought Brussels sprouts should be broccoli and broccoli should be Brussels sprouts.
Ooh,
because sprouts
because they look like each other.
Brussels sprouts look like broccoli, like the word sprouts, broccoli sprouts, right? It's got a bunch of little sprouts. That should be the thing.
Yeah.
And broccoli looks like broccoli. It looks like a little fucking lettuce, like a bunch of little broccolis there. Like, right?
Like, who the fuck named these things?
I think we fucked up the name somewhere. I think someone just messed it up.
Yeah.
But the way to cook it, parboil. Okay, you parboil them. Don't boil all the way. Just parboil and a little bit of salt in that water. Then you pull them out. You dry them out. Cover them in olive oil. And then garlic. And you want to bake them. And then at the end of it, you want to do a little broil. Just get a little char on top there. The olive oil and the garlic just sets in. Shit, yeah. Little Himalayan pink. Salt on there. Yeah.
That sounds like hey, what do we got? We got Colombian white and Himalayan pink.
That's right. And kosher.
And kosher,
It's a good Jewish household. We got some kosher salt here.
Well, this has been vegetable talk.
But
with
yeah,
Michael
that's the way I cook them. The way I cook asparagus, I love to just boil them in a microwave for 2.5 minutes. And that's very nice.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Stick them with some olive oil. Yes, we love vegetables here. Are you an eggplant flan?
An eggplant flan?
Flan. You like eggplant?
I do like
flan?
eggplant. But
oh, it's so gross. Okay, so my friends that I was just watching that house a little while ago, they have a garden in the back, and because they were gone so long, I had to harvest.
Oh, so did you go out there with your sickle?
I went and I harvested everything but the fucking kale. Because fuck that kale. I don't like kale mostly because it's not great. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Like I like a spicy lettuce sort of thing, cruciferous. Sure. Give me some arugula though, because I don't want it to taste like dirt.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, kale fucking blows. It just does. But but I got a bunch of eggplants. And by the way, anyone that is part of social media now, it is weird to grab an eggplant and not think of the emoji.
Yeah, big veiny emoji.
And I had to like harvest them twice, and I'm like, I don't know when, like, how good are eggplant? Like, how good are they? How long are they good for in the fridge, or before I grill it up or whatever, and put a nice little brie on top of it? Oh yeah. But it was mostly peppers and tomatoes, Anaheim peppers, tomatoes, and squash, zucchini squash.
Very nice. I'm glad you had a lovely harvesting adventure.
It was.
It
was great.
Yeah. Well, this has been Vegetable Talk with two idiots on a music podcast.
Vegetable Talk. Is there anything they won't talk about?
Yeah. No.
That's good, because I was in a bad fucking mood today about music.
Oh, okay. Do you want to vent? Do you want to unload a little bit?
Old guy rant. No,
man rant.
I've just been kind of pissed off at artists I've talked to lately and sub-labels, and like there's this whole thing that's going on with, everyone's trying to figure it out, and I get it. Like, that's always, it's a moving target. How do we do it? How to get more streams? Where's the money come from? Should I continue to do this? Like, no one wants to spend money and invest in themselves and invest in it as a business. And you got the half of the people that are like, well, it shouldn't be a business. It's all about art. And those people just drive me fucking nuts. Like, look, I love you. I love that person.
Yeah.
Become that idiot savant that writes all those songs in your basement, and eventually they come out when you're dead. But don't get in the game. Don't get in the game. Don't fuck up my music business. Don't come out here and just expect it to go on its own and not try to figure out how it works, and like wish that royalties work different, wish that Spotify worked different. That's what fucking kills me, is all the people that are like, this is the way it should be. And I'm like, okay. All right, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Either it's that or learn the fucking game and learn how to play it now and learn how to play it right. And all of us, by the way, all of us are continually trying to learn it right. The conversation I had with somebody was, I was supposed to do another college class thing. Okay?
Oh, nice.
And there's a guy who is, and I'm not going to say who it is, but there's a guy who's doing it. And he's an old school guy. And he's teaching a lot of techniques that may have worked in like 1983.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, that's great. But like, okay, so you want to find 1,000 fans to buy your record who are real fans.
Yeah.
Show me 200. Show me 100 fans that are going to buy a record from you every year. And I'm down for going down that road for you. But don't tell me that this 1,000 superfan idea of selling physical copies to them works for most people, because just like most of the fans aren't doing that. And it it kills me. It just really kills me.
Yeah.
So it's and then sort of, okay, so it led into one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Let's get into this. So it's basically this guy who was talking about like music promotion, and he was like, okay, so how much should I spend on each single? Yeah. How much should I spend on each song? And I kind of, reversed that back to you. It was like, okay, well, what are you expecting? Like, you're investing in the release, right? You're promoting your music. And this is different for everyone that's listening to this, right? Like, if you have a band that is, playing live a lot, you've got 100 gigs on the books this year, okay? You're playing live a lot. Maybe you've got 200 gigs on the books, or you're a touring band or a regional band, okay? That's a different thing than sort of a home producer or somebody that's doing like a few showcase shows or not playing live at all. Or someone that has a back catalog and you're a songwriter and like, what do I do with this now? I don't really have a band. All of those are different, right? Those are all different things that you should be what you're expecting. Because when you're promoting the music, are you trying to get a fan for life? Are you trying to get a fan for the song? Are you trying to make a sale? Are you trying to just get a view? Are you trying to just run numbers for metrics to book a show? There's 1,000 reasons why you're doing it. And most of these people can't fucking answer that question for me. Like, why? Why are you promoting this song?
Yeah.
Like, because I want people to hear my music. That is not a reason why. That's a want.
Yeah.
We all want people to hear our music. Well, some of us. I kind of don't. Yeah. I want you to be surprised when you hear it on TV and be like, that's a cool fucking song. And I don't want you to know it was mine.
Yeah.
So like, again, I'm in a whole different category than some other people.
Yeah.
And so anyway, as we were talking about it, he was like, well, okay, I do want to make some money on it. I don't want to lose some money. I was like, okay, so now we're talking. So how many streams do you think you should be able to get for spending $200 on a single? And just promo, like this is just the ads and promo side, not the time you put in it, not the videos you do on TikTok, whatever, just straight up money that you're paying for it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, so how many streams do you think you should be able to get for that? And he was like, well, I don't know, like 200,000, 500,000. I was like, whoa, okay.
No. Okay.
Well, that's quite a bit of streams there, kid. And let's just say your effective streaming rate is 0.004, which is the number I use, but a lot of times it's 0.003 or 35.
Yeah.
But so 200,000 streams is $800.
Yeah.
Okay, that's $800. That's you making that 200 back plus tripling. That's tripling your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Show me another business where you can triple your money.
Yeah.
And I was like, so the number that you really need to break even is 50,000 streams. That's what you need for $200. Yeah. And I will posit that most musicians, most bands do not get 50 on one single.
Yeah.
They also don't work it long enough. Because like even Spotify will tell you, I think the recent thing that Spotify said was 75% of streams come in 12 months after your release. Isn't that crazy?
That's
like
interesting.
6 to 12 months after your release. They're pushing this new showcase thing that they're doing. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other story.
Actually, I should get that actual number down. But like it's a crazy number. But anyway, so I was like, well, wait a minute, $200 and you're trying to make what, $1,000, $10,000 off of those $200? What the fuck are you thinking? And it kind of puts it into your head as like a real business. Like I'm investing $200 in my cookie business. How many cookies do I think I can sell? And how many cookies should I sell? And so it got me to thinking that like you actually have a better chance of doubling your money by betting through DraftKings. You literally have a bet, and you may not even know shit about gambling, but you can go on YouTube, just like the music business, and you can go find a guru, just like the music business, who will tell you who to do a 2-game parlay with, or pick 2 horses, or pick this team to win that has a good point spread or whatever. And if you put $200 on that bet, and pretty much in most of the states now, I don't know what the real number is, but you can bet legally and put your $200 in your app, and you have a better chance of doubling your money on betting without knowing shit about the sport, right? Like you don't need to be a football player to bet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, you're going to be putting your money into your music. You don't need to be a record label executive to make the money back.
Yeah.
And so I just find that funny. Like, so to do the math on it, to make $80 in streaming is 20,000 streams.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so like you won't even get back your $200 on that. But like even in gambling, you could maybe push, you could maybe even get just your money back. Yeah. And you know that you couldn't. So I'm thinking I may design like a single to put $200 on.
Yeah.
And then design a bet to put $200 on.
Ooh.
And do an experiment of like, okay, if I just do a little bit of research as I normally would on both sides of it and go, okay, let's see whether or not it's easier to make money on legalized gambling. Than it is on music
the other
promotion.
thing. You definitely get your return quicker because, you're looking at least, a quarter to 2 quarters later from your release. Or maybe 6 to 9 months later, before you're getting your return on your investment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll get the recording royalties like a month later, but to make the full money, absolutely, you're looking at 6 to 9 months.
I think that there's this idea that streaming is that's the top of the mountain for everybody. Like, we're going to release it to the internet, and the world will just discover our genius, and it's not part of an overall plan for your music career, which should involve 17 or 18 other things.
Yeah.
Right? And streaming is just this part of it. You have to have a presence in that. You have to have music out there. You have to have a little bit of skin in that game. But that's not the only way you're going to generate revenue.
No.
And it was never the only way that a musician generated revenue.
No.
So everybody shut up.
Everybody shut up. And by the way, this is a guy that was, he thinks he's looking at the music industry and business.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at the top people in Spotify and JP Morgan and shit. And I got into a fight on Twitter or whatever they call it now, but I'm calling it Twitter, just as I call it HBO, just as I call it the cock, as everyone knows. Okay. But it basically was this. According to JP Morgan, if someone uploaded their own 30-second track to Spotify and then programmed their phone to listen to it on repeat 24 hours a day, they would receive $1,200 a month in royalties.
I can't even.
Daniel Ek even had to come out and say, that's not exactly how our payouts work. Or I would have a Daniel playlist happening.
Yeah.
It's so. Remember, I told you this a few podcasts ago. These guys do not fucking know what they're doing. Everyone gives these people so much more credit than they deserve. JP Morgan, who has billions and billions of dollars on the line on Spotify, as well as Sony and UMPG, I believe. But JP Morgan, right? These are the smart people that make billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. This is just completely wrong. And I will just break it down for you math people really quickly.
Ooh, get a pen and paper.
1,440 minutes in a day, okay? That means 2 plays is times 2 is 30 seconds, right? 30-second plays is what you get paid for on Spotify. That is 2,880. At 2,880 plays per day times 30 days is 86,400 streams. Those streams at a generous effective streaming rate of 0.004 equals $345.60. They were off by 3/4. Like so fucking far off. That's how far off they are. They don't even know their own business, their own math. And so, by the way, to make that $1,200 a month in recording royalties, you would have to do 300,000 streams over 30 days, which is 10,000 a day.
Yeah.
And that would be 417 per hour or 7 per minute. So, no. They're wrong. And look, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy out here. Look, I'm just a caveman who got my law degree. But this, you guys stop listening to these people who say that they know everything, because they don't sometimes. And all you got to do is a little bit of math, y'all. And I was so fucking snarky to JP Morgan guys on Twitter. I was like, I understand maybe you don't have a calculator on your computer like my Mac does.
I love it when snarky Michael comes out, because I think Twitter might be or whatever the hell it's called.
We're calling it Twitter.
Pearl. It's a reference to a horror movie named X.
Loved it.
Loved it. The letting snarky Michael out as Twitter is the perfect place for it. But I'm so, again, this is basic knowledge. This is not even this isn't even like
shit.
Like, you want to look at the code that makes us all work and you know how it allocates things and how it's always learning. You want to take a look at the back end of this thing. It's not even like that shit. This is basically like, this plays, you make X amount of dollars, and the math was wrong by fucking finance people,
and not by a little.
No,
not by a little, by like a hell of a lot.
Yeah, by 75%.
Yeah, it just unbelievably
You're trying to launch
wrong.
something to Mars. It's gone. It's in the sun. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, and I know that, and also, no correction. The guy wanted to fight with me about it. And I was like, first of all, you don't know what you're talking about at all, because Spotify will put a fucking governor on how many plays you have. First of all, as a premium user, doesn't even matter. You didn't take off that $10 or $11 or whatever for your premium thing, but also Spotify has been out. What would the thing be? It's been retiring the online player, and with their updates, and some of you who have been doing this little trick, by the way, will notice this. When you can't just put it on repeat, where it just plays it all day long. So even if like you used to be able to like do your own playlist, hit repeat on all of your songs, let it run through your playlist, and then do a repeat thing, and you could technically kind of get close to like 1,000 plays or something. You just want to get over 1,000 plays. A lot of people do that, where you just kind of play your own song over and over and over, and maybe have a few of your fans do it. By the way, if this is shocking to you, just wait until I talk to you about bots and VPNs. But it used to be able that you can do that, and now the replay button on the updated version of Spotify only does one replay. Yeah. I think maybe it goes up to 3, but it doesn't do like forever infinity loop replay. Yeah. And so, the difference there is like you have a song that's 3.5, 4 minutes long. It's supposed to do that after 4 minutes. Especially if you're on ad-based Spotify, that ad gets tripped up and you have like 3 ads in there. And like it will not continue to play through it. So they've been doing something to kind of stop this little thing too, because that's the way bots are programmed. Is they go into playlists, they play 30 seconds to 40 seconds, they skip the next track, they do the same thing, and it's programmatically done that way. And by the way, there's still a shitload of that bot stuff going on where, like, get this, there were people, I don't know if I'm talking out of school here. Well, fuck it. I don't care. You can sue me.
It's your podcast. But
your
picture's on the front.
There were people that were going out and giving laptops and internet access to people in downtrodden areas, at-risk people, and like inner cities and things like that, or in Appalachia and stuff like that. And then they had on that computer, the second it would connect, a VPN bot would run in the background with like 42 Spotify profiles that would go and bot different songs that had been programmed to do. You could go into the root directory remote and change those when you wanted to. But it would happen in the background, especially with someone that doesn't know like how computers work. They would just be like, wow, that's weird. My computer's running a little bit slower. But they wouldn't check like activity window or anything like that. And so it looks real, right? Because it's going from this computer on an IP address, in Mississippi, in Detroit, in Montana, all over the fucking place.
Wow.
And then through their VPNing around, so that now if you're doing this, if you're looking at your artist profile on Spotify, you're like, what the fuck? I'm getting like, this is bad if you're managing a band, because then the band's like, we should really go play Mississippi. We've got 400,000 streams in Tupelo.
Exactly.
But as it turns out, no, you don't.
No.
But it's completely legal the way it works. I mean, it is. And okay, if you're really interested in this, thanks a lot for asking, Stu. If you're really interested in how it works,
of course I am.
All you have to do is keep your bots under 2,500 a day. And that is the threshold that Spotify will trigger shit at 2,500, on per song. And this is why you can't do it as an independent artist, and labels kind of can if they farm it out to other people, because then you do a playlist of 14 of your artists, 20 of your artists, 100 of your artists, and the bot goes to that playlist, and the label's making all that money, and all those artists are making a little bit of share. And that's how it works. But it can be that, it makes sense. If you're making, if you're doing 2,500, 3,000 streams a day, it's something I think it's like 60,000 a month in recording royalties. Yeah, go buy a few used laptops and give them to some kids. And that makes complete sense. $500 here, $750 for a little HP laptop, and boom. And you've already got it programmed on there. The second they open up an internet connection, it connects to Spotify and logs in. And I've seen it. I have fucking seen it. You can just see it load, and the name, it's just fake names, fake profiles, and it loads a song, 30 seconds, loads a song, just keeps going through them.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it.
And I hear that, and I think to myself, as an artist, that is gross. You know,
It is
because
totally
it's not,
gross.
Because if I'm looking at Spotify as a tool, especially like you said, I mean, I remember, getting reports on, where things are getting played, even like down to when it was on like, the fucking jukebox in like some bar. It was like somewhere you can get a report on where your songs are being played if they're up on the touch tunes or whatever the hell you find in the middle of a bar. Like if I'm like building into an entire music business, it's not just about streaming, it's not just built into that. I now have a bunch of erroneous data that is telling me one thing, like you said, go to Mississippi, you have 400,000 streams there, and you go there and like nobody fucking shows up. You just fucked yourself. Why not get real information, be part of it, build a real fucking plan? Jeez.
And listen, and I get that. The flip side of that is, okay, but if you're making $30,000 a month on music, and you're just playing the game as they've built it, and they're not going to give you, they're not going to show your music to new fans because you're not part of a label, and like this is happening a lot in like sort of, I don't want to knock down hip hop, but it is happening in production music, and so it's like it's hard to find, like beat lovers to listen to and become a fan, if you're not like a personalized rapper. Because the thing is that people don't buy your music. They buy you as a person. And this has always been the case, right? Like they will love the music more that they like you and know you. That's how artists make it. The music is the entree, and it's a way in, and it's got to be there, and it's got to be great and affecting. But like the thing that builds a fan is you, and like so. But if you don't have a you, and it's more of a like sort of a faceless kind of music thing, man, it's hard. It's hard to beat the hustle, right? It's hard to beat the hustle. It's like, hey, this is the game they set up. These motherfuckers aren't even making music, and they're making $1 billion a year in stock benefits, and they're fucking up the record industry forever. And like, why shouldn't I make my bit? And then go and buy better instruments and get better syncs off of it because I can show numbers. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you should, because you can get dinged and this could ruin your career forever. It absolutely could. If you're doing this as an artist, I should always put that disclaimer out there. But like, I can see why the hustlers would do it. I could see why they're doing it, because it's like, if the game is rigged, I'm going to use it as it's rigged. They're paying me for 30-second plays, and they're not going to, even if you go and you spend money on Spotify to advertise to Spotify, they're not showing it to the right amount of people. That thing I just told you about, the spotlight thing that they're doing, we'll cover this in another podcast. But like, you can spend $100 to spotlight past catalog stuff, put it on like front page stuff of Spotify. It's kind of part of Marquee and the things that they're doing, where you can spend money in Spotify instead of spending money on Facebook and Instagram Meta, to try to drive people to Spotify, which is hard to do because you got to make sure that they have Spotify. Otherwise, it just goes there and doesn't give you the play. But like, I saw the number, and it was like $100 is the buy-in, and the CPC, the cost per click to get into your song, is 0.40.
Whoa!
So 0.40 is 40 cents is pretty shitty for a CPC at all.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not CPM. That's not per thousand. That's CPC, right? So that's pretty shitty. But then when you compare that to an effective streaming rate of 0.004, 4 1/100ths of a cent, then how the fuck are you ever supposed to make that money back? Like, even if you kill it on your ad campaign, you're giving them 40 cents for 0.004 cents.
Wow.
I mean, it's a pretty good scam. It's a pretty good scam.
Yeah.
But the point is that for our purposes, that money is spent not just for the play, right? You're not just trying to get the recording royalty for a stream. You are trying to find a fan that will listen to 5-10 of your songs every month, and become a fan, maybe buy a t-shirt, maybe see you on tour, check out your videos, check out your personal shit, follow you on whatever. Okay, now it starts making some more sense. Now can you get $1 of value out of that click for 40 cents?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of merch, we just, I believe your person came up with the idea for the Fisher-Price My First PA hoodie.
Yes. My first sound system.
My first sound system, yeah.
The Stu Miller registered My First Sound System.
Yeah, exactly.
You can find that on 2ShotsMusicPod.com.
Fantastic.
It's in the merch store. But yeah.
I love that we got a merch store now. I'm going to have to buy me some hoodies.
I know. Bitchy Kitty's still out there.
Bitchy Kitty?
The Bitchy Kitty World Tour t-shirt. The women's tee.
Fantastic.
There's a few tees on that. I
love it.
It might be time to make that into a hoodie now that we're going into winter or fall or whatever we are. You're in a hoodie right now.
I'm in a hoodie right now. Yeah, I've been taking the dog for walks early in the morning, and I just never get out of it until I have to leave the house. Usually about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But yeah, like it was a nice crisp, fall like morning. This morning we went for a couple mile wander around the neighborhood. It was really cool.
That's very nice.
It's nice. Yeah,
I start off with a long sleever with a flannel, and like just recently it's been coming off in about 22 minutes. So it's like it's cold for a second, and I'm like, that's enough. Wah, wah, wah,
Do you tie it around your waist like you're in Pearl Jam in 1993?
Dude, I'm gonna get some docs. I'm gonna take these flannels. I'm gonna slack her out and start a grunge band and like fuck all this stuff. That's the way to do it.
I'm in. When are we starting this? When's this happening? I've got several instruments we can tune to C sharp.
Yes. I'll sing everything through my nose. Now I'm going hungry.
Yeah, excellent.
Stealing bread.
Oh, Chris Cornell.
What
Rest
a
in
voice.
peace.
What a talent.
Anyway, what a talent. That was a lovely old man rant about math and the state of streaming. Is this a state of the streaming address? Would you say?
It's one of them. I don't know. There's just so much going on with all this crap that's like, and the thing is that to see it filter down, because I know some of the people who are in the top of the game who do like the big fucking numbers, right? And I'm trying to bring that knowledge down to the independents, as I always have. That has always been my goal. Is like I want to be a part of independent success. Yeah, and see those people go. Whether or not that turns into a label thing, sometimes it does. Yeah, sometimes it has to. But like, but like to bring that information down here, and you come down here and you talk to these people, and they're like, well, that's not the way it should be. Well, that's not the way I like it. Well, I wish it was this way. And it's like, you guys are fucking killing me. I'm telling you the answers, and you're killing me.
Well, a friend of mine used to say, you can wish in one hand and shit in the other. The result is the same.
Especially if you clap.
Yeah. Now, that's the whole... if I was going to be running an insurance company, right?
Oh,
and somebody said
right now.
sounds oh yeah, right. And I walked into that insurance agency, and they're like, we'd like to train you on the way we do things here, and they would say, okay, so here's what you do is you open up your CRM and you get to resource, and it's like, well, that's not the way it should be. Guess what's going to happen to you in that job?
Right.
Your ass is going to get fired every time you say, they might fire you 4 times throughout the day every time you say, well, that's stupid, but this is the way we're doing it. And this, until you get to a point where you can fuck some things up on a level, up in the upper tiers, where you actually have some influence to change that, play the game as it is.
Yeah, and I want to give a little bit of leeway here in that, like, musicians by nature are rule breakers, right? Like, that's why we're not in accounting.
Or insurance.
But like so often I see the idea that like they'll take some young independent artist will take some old information and be like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be done. I'm like, okay, that's the way it was done last year. Like there is a little bit of creativity on what's the next way to do it. Like is TikTok the driver now? Or is it something a little bit different than that? Or the way that it's being done, is it different? And then they'll hold like an outlier, like the guy that did the Rich Guy from Richmond song. Well, I want to
Yeah.
do it that way. I'm like, okay, well,
That's
you
an
mean you want
anomaly.
to cause a conservative brouhaha that leads to iTunes downloads that is meant to drive a public policy to get political? Like, seriously? You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, that
Yeah.
guy's a talent, and there's a talent there,
Yeah.
and the song is a talent.
Yeah.
But the way it blew up had nothing to do with plans
Yeah.
necessarily. And so...
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a way to do it. That's a guerrilla tactic. You could do it that way.
Yeah.
There are ways to do that, but it's like until you master some of the like just the very basic shit of like
Yeah.
like tonight. Guess what tonight
Yeah.
is? Tonight is Thursday. I'm working a global single because
Yeah.
it comes out tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
there's little shit like that I will tell people
Yeah.
week after week after week, and they just simply will not do those little things.
Yeah.
Simply will
Exactly.
not do those little things. And
Yeah. We
just
both have together.
blows me away.
We both have together like full plans that give artists. I mean, yeah, you can go to a website right now that one of us has, and you can purchase for a nominal fee a step-by-step plan on how to release a single. And when it starts is not the day you release the single.
No.
It starts
Months before.
prior to that. It's a lot of work. It requires a little bit every single day, and it requires the most amount of work the night before you release it and the 3 weeks after you release it.
3 weeks. Yep. Daily.
Everything else
daily
is
for 3 weeks.
daily. Yeah. Daily stuff going on, right?
And you will be cringe. Because you will get sick of yourself and your own song.
Yeah.
And you will not realize that 3 weeks later, the right person
gotta
hears
do
it
it.
and has never heard it. Just when
Yeah.
you think you have I talked about it forever. But
Yeah.
like there's 1,000 things you got to do in the place of that to make sure you're not reaching the same
Yeah.
people and expanding the audience. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's complicated, right? Because
Yeah.
there's money involved.
Yeah.
There is
And-
money involved.
And part of it for everybody, there's basic things that we do know. There's the basics that we do know. But for each individual artist, there is a little bit of creativity that has to happen in order for any release plan to drive your content to the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes, here's a thing to be aware, everybody, you are the wrong person to make that decision.
Probably.
You probably are.
Probably, yeah.
And that's why it is okay at some point in time for you to get some outside information on where to try it.
Yeah, and
know?
and like I'm working with this band that is kind of psychedelic post rock that I've been like it's sort of fun because this is a genre I do not know that much about, and like I've been really
Yeah.
learning, and I like
Yeah.
doing that and applying some of these techniques to that. And they want to put together a release plan because they want to make sure that there's a big show for the day it's released. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And I'm like, I know that that's a way of thinking, and that's kind of an old school way
Yeah.
of thinking. But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how many people can you reach that night? I mean, 500 at most.
Yeah.
200
Yeah.
probably. Maybe 1,000. Like, but like,
Yeah.
that's not the way it works now. Like
No,
that's
it's
not the
not.
way it works. Like that's not the
Yeah.
way it works. You should have that. It should be a party, no matter what. Do that thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
but like
of course.
that is not part of the release plan. And
No.
and
No.
I'm like, okay, well, let me take a look at it and we'll put together like a schedule. My problem is that I know that I need all 5 members of their band to do their part, and they are not going to. And so it's not going to
Yeah.
work. And I know that.
Yeah.
Like I know, like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I tell bands this all the time. I did this at the college just recently, where they were like, okay, when you're doing a release plan, like, what does the band need to do? And I was like, everything.
Yep.
I mean, like,
Everything.
you can 5 times what we're doing by doing it all, and like your
Yeah.
own videos, your own TikToks, your own posts
Yeah.
every single day,
Yeah.
your own calls. Get on the email list, get on the text list, go downtown. Like, I could give you 100 ways to do it. But like I got to get the buy-in from everybody, not just the singer, not just the guitarist, the drummer, the bass player, the keyboard player, everybody, and the manager, and your groupies, and your merch chick,
Yeah.
like whoever.
Yeah.
Like everybody
Yeah.
needs to be behind this, and I just know from having done this for so many years, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
And then they're
Yeah.
going to be like, well, how come it didn't go anywhere? I'm like, well, what did you do yesterday? And
Yeah.
what did you do last week? What did you do last month? What do you mean? Why didn't it go anywhere? You posted
Yeah.
something. You shared a picture of it. That's what you
Yeah.
thought would make go.
Yeah.
You shared.
Yeah.
We have a song coming out. Great.
Yeah. Big news coming tomorrow,
Yeah,
guys.
you guys. I'm releasing
Big
something.
things. Big things coming. Big things coming. So,
All right.
Man.
Enough of that
Yeah.
rant. We'll get into
That was a
this
good
more.
rant.
And by the way,
Old man
do not
rants.
get disheartened if you're in the game and you hear
Yeah.
all this and you're like, God damn it, I want to do it the right way. You can do it the right way. It is not that
Yeah.
hard. It's not
Yeah.
easy, but it also is not fucking rocket science. You can do it.
yeah.
You got to commit.
Yeah. Just ask the people at JP Morgan.
Fucking, I'm just going to let that sit there. All right, let's get into the sync of the week.
Perfect. Sync. So mine's
I'll
from a
knock
JP
out mine
Morgan
first.
ad. I'm just kidding.
It's back. Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh,
Is back.
yes.
One of my feel-good shows.
Yes.
Lovely
Yeah.
Wales. Welcome
Yep.
to Wrexham. Season 2, episode 1 is on Hulu, and you can see that right now. And so
Yeah.
my sync from that, so they meet the King of England. I don't want to give too
King
much
Chuck?
away. But yeah, it's a pretty cool episode, and there's some stakes
Nice.
involved, literally.
Oh.
Of some money stakes, not the steak
gotcha.
I will eat tonight.
Fantastic.
Sorry, vegetarians.
Oh.
But the song, there's a song in one of the like montage. I need a montage in the montage that is called "The Bigger the Boom," which is from MC
Ooh.
Globe, and it's a
Oh,
fucking
wow.
killer track. Go and YouTube that right
Nice.
now. "The Bigger the Boom" from
Excellent.
MC Globe. It's a killer track. Andrea von Forster is the music soup. She won an award for that of the Guild Music Supervision last year, I believe. Because of
Yeah.
all of the great. By the way, there's a new intro song to the Welcome to Wrexham.
Really?
It's not Buddy Holly anymore.
Oh.
But anyway,
That's a good shame.
it's great that it's back. It's feel good. It's 30 minutes, 27 minutes, whatever. You can knock it out. By the way, even if you don't know soccer or football, there's plenty for you to be inspired by. Welcome to Wrexham is my sync of the week.
That's a very good one, by the way. I was gonna do one, but I've changed my mind, and so I'm gonna do the one before it. As everybody knows, I have been enjoying the shit out of the new season of Good Omens. I've been really, really enjoying that. I'm not, but in episode 5 of season 2, there's a really lovely, let's call it a party scene, shall we say?
Okay.
And they play in this. I believe it was in that scene. I could be completely fucking wrong, but I remember hearing this in the show, and I can't. Maybe I'm losing my mind here, but one of the weirder Queen songs. And if you watch the end credits of Good Omens, they say and of course thanks to Queen, because very inspirational piece for Neil Gaiman and the show and the book and all that kind of stuff. But they play "I'm Going Slightly Mad" by Queen in season 2, episode 5, and it is just such a weird song. If you've ever seen the video for it that came out off the album Innuendo, it's a really bizarre tune, kind of like, I'm in love with my car, but without the sexual overtones for an automobile. Yeah, it's I've loved kind of like what they've chosen to do with this show, like with the music. It's been really, really, really fun. And the second season, I just finished it off the other day, is gorgeous.
It really is.
It is so good. It is so good. And they chef's kiss on the work that they did on that. Michael Sheen and David Tennant are just fucking amazing in it. And that is Catherine Grimes is the music soup on that. I think she's soup for the whole thing, at least for the whole second season. I don't know if she did season 1, did she?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did the whole thing. So she had to slog through the Queen catalog.
You gotta
Good
getting into. I love that they're doing deep track Betty stuff on that. Like I mean, because that's if you're gonna just use that catalog, I mean you've probably already got sort of pre-approval of like you probably got pricing down, you probably got pre-approval.
Yeah.
You're like whatever you need. We got master and sync ready to go. However you want to do it, and like then you can pick one of those songs that like never gets synced. That's also sort of a feather in your cap when you get to pick one that's never been used. Yeah, and I imagine that one has probably never been used.
Yeah, and it's I'm going slightly mad. It's such a great fucking weird song, and Brian May's guitar work on it. So it's so good. Anyway, it was like it took me back to being 13 years old or 12 years old and seeing that on MTV.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, okay, so technically if it was on MTV it was synced, but whatever.
Well, I don't know if it was on MTV. It might have been. I might have watched it on a VHS or something like that. Yeah. Who knows? But like not for a show. So like I love that can happen. And often that's the kind of song that like is not going to be, it's a skipper. You know, and like on the album or on the CD or on the whatever, you'd be like, I get what you're doing. You're an artist, but like if you're young and whatever, you're like, I don't fucking get this song, you're like, okay, I heard it, but I'm going to go ahead and go to This Isn't Show Must Go On, which is,
so like, what a great opportunity to use it in a weird, quirky scene. Yeah. That isn't about being cool or for young people or whatever. That's a great place for it to be. Yeah, great show. I really, really, really enjoyed just it's just so whimsical. Yes, I just enjoyed the show. And also a reminder to end the fucking strike, studios, so we can get back to some of these productions. Even Gaiman has said in the strike they're ready to go. It's been written. Season 3's good. Yeah, they gotta, but you gotta fucking end the strike so we can get back to this and stop fucking around, Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore. Okay, that's another topic. Anyway, all right, let's wrap this sucker up. Remember to rate and subscribe to us. Give us 5 stars. Leave a hilarious and dirty comment on Apple
Lots
Podcasts.
of profanity.
Lots of profanity. And perfect. And make sure to follow us at 2ShotsMusicPod wherever you follow people. You can email us at where?
At 2ShotsMusicPod at gmail.com.
Gmail.com, one of my favorite .coms ever. And until next week, we hope you write a great song. We know you look good. We hope you feel good. You look marvelous.
Yes, darling, yes, we are absolutely, my loves. You look so wonderful. Write some great fucking music and keep fucking shit up, y'all.
Keep fucking shit up. Amen. All right. Bye.
Bye.